Alright, to protect the paint on the front edge of this door here against the courtesy light, just cut some little discs, which is a moisture barrier tape. Transparent, so we'll just put it there so it will protect the paint at least. So that's lined up. I'll just curve it around the edge of this frame here. And there's the other side. It's not really that visible, but at least it's going to protect the paint. These jam up. I've had to work on this a bit, but it does get stuck. There's a lot of spring force on it, so I'm hoping this is going to keep popping out as it's required. Got the purple cable running in here. I'm not too sure where it goes. I'll probably just run it around the edge here behind the vents. I'll put this behind this vent here. Next up, we'll install this switch. May just put a gasket on this, or something at least on the back side of this to stop it from spinning around. I have a bit of cork material. I might just cut a piece of cork so at least it can have a bit of friction on here, so when you turn the key it's not going to spin the ignition. So using the dimensions of this spacer, I'll just cut out a bit of gas material out of this cork, and then the diameter of this ignition is used for the outer diameter of this cork gasket. And there we have it. So we'll bind this onto the center console now, and we'll get ready to install this into the car. So that didn't work, it was way too thick, so I'm going to use it out of this old gasket here. It's a bit more of a softer foam that will compress. So even this foam was still too thick, so I'll abort that and just try to use a bit of double-sided tape in a few locations just to lock this in and hope it doesn't spin. Alright, and there we have it. This double-sided tape was not so thick, but just thick enough for this locking ring to just be flush with the top surface of the key or the barrel. So yeah, unfortunately I couldn't get the notches in this locking ring up and down, but that'll be okay. I'm happy with that. Doesn't spin at all, so it's nice and vertical in the panel now. So if we try the key, and this key also opens the doors, by the way, so it's a single key. Actually, it's this one here. This one here is for the lockable fuel caps. So that'll open the boot, 2 doors, as well as run the ignition. Put that in and just give it a try. 1 click for on, and then another turn for ignition. There we have it. Alright, so we took this heater out near the end of when we did the interior install. I had the valve mechanism in the wrong arrangement, so I've had to redo this. Basically the can, I'll flip it around, but I had to rotate this cam around, or this arm, so that when I pull on the cable from here, it'll open the valve. So I'll try and do it. Here we go. So it's opening and then closing. So that's all set up now. We've put the washer back on that locks it down, the locking washer. Put the little tabs on the cable mechanism, and then also Installed the cable on this side as well, so it's much easier to do this out of the car. I should have done this before installing it. I've also gone ahead and installed some length of hose. I don't know what the length is just yet, but we got the heater hose here set up on it, and I'll feed that through the firewall and install this. So it's all ready to go. We can wire it up, and I'll show you as well. We installed this bracket here, screwed them down, and I've realized that in the past I've done this, and that's been a two-person job. You've had to have someone out here holding the bolts while someone does the nuts up from the inside, but having this panel off the car, it's been a lot easier just to reach over here, hold them down, and get away with just doing it as a one-person job. So that's installed. We'll feed it through, just get them out of the way. I'll look to install this panel here. I don't know what the screws are for this, but there's one here and we'll find the others. At least I think that's a screw there. So yeah, we'll install that panel, feed them through, and wire up the heater and the center control panel. And with the wiring loom inside the car, we've tidied all the wiring up, we've double checked each individual wire, had a look to make sure there wasn't any wires that had damage to the outer cover. So we'll first get the heater installed. I'll feed this wiring through here. This was not too hard in the end. I just had to look at a couple of different manuals. Not all manuals were really good, so fortunately I had two different manuals and was able to verify the colours of these individual wires against the manual and make sure everything lines up, and it does, which is great. 15 amp fuse here, and that fuse is still intact as well after all these years. I don't know, it might have been replaced by the previous owner while he was in the process of rebuilding it. But like for example, that one goes to the lights and it's pin number 3. We've got ignition 1, ignition 2, and what else? Ignition 3. That's a standalone loom there. Anyway, we'll continue on. We'll get the heater installed, then install the heater switch, wire that up, and then proceed with all the switches on the center console. There's 2 rubber bushes on this mount and they're starting to compress, so I think I'll just leave it there. Got the elbow for the heater. Here's the other hose. This goes up to the demister. That'll do. Not really going to clamp it. I don't think it needs to be clamped. I ran a little bit of electrical tape on this side, but it's probably not really necessary. Because once you expand this corrugation out, it's locked. There we go. So that green wire, I believe, will connect to this green wire, and then this black wire will connect to the switch, which I'll get and install. So here's the switch, and we got to put an earth onto here and also to here. I think it's easier just to connect this now. So it goes onto here. There we go. We got the two anchor clips, or whatever they're called, for the cables. So one's going to go here, which will be the cold, warm, hot, and this is off screen car. So I will install this now. You can really see in this design that this whole Clubman lower console was an afterthought. Well, not an afterthought, but they were really trying to adapt this design onto the old Morris lower dash. So it kind of looks a little bit messy on how this switch just hangs underneath this lower dash panel. And it's a bit of a shame that this painted piece is all hidden and obscured on a Clubman. I guess I'm just trying to get with the times and modernise their look. So I've loosely installed one screw on this side, I'll do the same on the other. And yeah, this screw just goes through the lower console onto the switch panel, and then into the original Morris lower dash. Now there is another earth on that switch, this switch here. I don't have another cable like to bond that on. So I'll leave it off for now, but I've just got to make a mental note that it's got to be earthed. I don't think the earth just carries through this and a couple of screws only. So we got one of these little clips here to clip this cable down. Well, it appears to be sliding in this outer sheath, so I'm thinking I'm just going to apply a bit of electrical tape to provide a bit of resistance on there. So we've connected these two cables up, and yeah, you don't want to underestimate the importance of setting these up properly. They take a lot of fiddling about. If they're not set up right, there's a lot of tension and it's very hard to pull the switches, and even my switches are still a little bit hard to push and pull. but I've had to fiddle around, and the more I fiddled around with it to try to get the adjustments right on it, the easier that these switches became. It might be better off if I bought all new cables, but I'll make do with these at the moment. I also had to put a little bit of electrical tape on the ends just so they don't slide about in the clips. But that's done now, and I've screwed this parcel shelf down now. Oh, sorry, this lower crash pad. Just tighten it a little bit more. And so we've got the switch installed. We've got the earth connected. I'll connect the live a bit later. But yeah, I'll just go ahead now. I've got the switches for these. So I'll go and install the switches and set all this up and wrap up the center console. Well, what a difference it makes to wire things up when they're properly marked. Yep. I'm relieved that I actually went to the time to mark up each of those wires, cross-check it against the wiring diagram, and I've actually left the tags on the back of it for now because I'm expecting that once I've even wired everything up and we get power to everything, we're going to have issues with switches and whatnot, probably starting with the ignition. I expect the headlights may be a drama as well. I'm not too sure about the wiper and the washer. But we'll leave them marked up for now, and I'll just take a note to take off all the little tags that I used a little bit later on. I'm pretty sure we're going to have to take this panel off and check things again. I may have to try to clean all the terminals because I'm a bit concerned that they've got a bit of a corrosion building up on them now. So yeah, anyway, we'll see what that looks like a little bit later. For now, it's set. I still have to add an earth to the back of this. I'm pretty sure. I have to work out where that's going to go. But yep, happy now with the installation of that. We'll now install the panel that covers up here. I'll get to that shortly. And then probably even start to set up the instrument cluster. Alright, we'll leave it at that. So we're nearing the time to install the brake lines. So we're not going to be using these. These came with the car, but they're all corroded and rusted up, and I'm not trusting the threads on them at all. So we've prepared some bundy. We've cut them to the right length. So we've got one for the clutch, another one for the master cylinder piece, and then the T-piece to the forward right-hand brake. Straighten them out as much as I can, and so we'll get mate of mine to just go and flare these out. I've got the fittings for it, so we'll get them squared away, and we can get working on the front of the car. And so here they are, all ready to go. We've got the brake tube fitting nuts, which are a 3/8 24. I bought them just on eBay. They're zinc plated. I've got the right sizes. We used Aeroflow Bundy, which was the 3/16 seamless steel brake, not stainless, but quite flexible, and I'm pretty happy with this product. I've used it before. I'm very much a tight ass. I don't want to go and buy the flaring tool, and my mate can do that pretty nicely. He's got a really nice tool. So in exchange, I just gave him one of my GT gear knob inserts, which I make. And of course you can buy these on osmini.com or Facebook or even eBay occasionally, but I gave him just an insert, so hopefully he'll be kind enough to flare all these out for me before Christmas so we can get the brake lines finished off. So before I move on to the front of the car, I've had to take a bit of a break. We've done the interior and the seats now, but I've ran short of a few parts, so I've had to do a big order, and this was a big one. Won't say how much I spent, but yeah, it was quite a lot. And thanks to Minisport, I've got a lot of stock available. I tried other places around Sydney, but they didn't, so I've had to make do and just buy with Minisport, who have always been really fast with delivering goods. This one took a bit longer, but I suppose it was because, yeah, well, I'll show you what I've got inside. So we'll open this, and this will help us progress now with some other parts of the car, and I'll show you exactly what is included. Let's see. Let's open this box. It's getting quite hot too, so my time working on the car is going to be a lot less. I'm waiting for the full brunt of summer to come around so we can start working on the engine. There you go. First time I've got a sticker for Minisport. There we go. It's pretty nice. Maybe that's a new thing, or maybe it's just because of what I spent. All right, let's have a look. Might just lift this up. Go through from the top here. All right, first up, got some new hose. This is for the wipers, and sorry, the washers. I already have pretty good hose with the washers, and it might be original, but I thought I'd just get some more of this and maybe put a fresh one in to make it look nice. So I've got some nylon tube. I don't know what this was. Oh, yep, so this might be the kick panels. Oh. 2 new wipers. Got the arms, and I've still got the wipers for the arms, but I've just elected to put 2 new wipers on for now. Mini spares, but compliments of Minisport. Got the wiper blade as well, which is nice. Alright, yeah, so these are the kick plates. So there we go, that looks great. Polished stainless. Now I do have the originals, but they're heavily dented and scratched. And I was going to do a video of me trying to take all the dents out and polish them from scratch, literally. So go with 400 grit, up to 800, 1000, 15, 2000, and then start using the buffing wheel. But it was heavily dented around the curve, and I've only got limited tooling to try to knock them out. I can really only just knock out straight sections, so I've bit the bullet and just got new ones. So they'll look lovely, and we can just put the other ones in a box with all the other original parts that came with the car. So we've got left and right, they come as a pair, and this is the Clubman one. So yeah, I think, you know, you can only get these from Minisport and maybe a few other local suppliers in Australia. I don't think you're going to get that in the UK. Not entirely sure. Let's see. Yeah, another sticker. Minisport. What we got here? All right. Gear knobs. So Minisport have new old stock of these gear knobs. And I'm looking to generate some GT gear knobs out of these, so that's great. It's their old stock. It's ex Mini Kingdom Leyland gear knobs. They look great. So I've got a few customers that are after a GT look-alike, and yeah, they're fantastic. They're looking in really good condition. Hopefully the rubber thread in them is okay. If you want to get a GT gear knob, just look out for me on Ausmini. Alright, I got a new outer seal for my replica. I damaged that one while I was messing around with it the other day, and it's beyond repair, so I got a new one. This is for the driver's side. Well prepared, well packaged. Nice that they've put it on a bit of wood, fake wood. Alright, and this was the main part, which didn't really have much of a choice in options here, but I'll show you what we purchased here. Now, It's not going to make the car original, but it's going to give it a nice output. And I don't know, may even put this on my current car and then take my current car one off. Let me see if I can pull it out. Okay. So, an RC40 exhaust. So this will be a side exhaust. Just a standard RC40, nothing special. I'm going to go straight through from the extractors to the exhaust for straight pipe. It won't be a two muffler combo. Looks good. Yeah, I still got to get the straight pipe for that, so it was time to buy this now, because when we do the engine setup in January, I'm going to rig it all up and do a out of car run, and I just need to get an exhaust on it as well when we do that, so it doesn't tick off all the neighbours. That's looking great. There are so many exhausts out there. I got really confused on what's an appropriate exhaust for the car, but on Facebook forums and Ausmini, the general consensus was just doing an RC40 with a straight pipe. So that's what we've done. Oh, here we go. And another one. Mini Sport Adelaide. Cool sticker. Yeah, it's good that they're doing that now. I've been using Mini Sport for over 10 years. And yeah, that's the first. And what we got here? I think this will be the fitting kit for the exhaust. Oh no. So this is another rare item. These are the what do you call them? Like the bottom out rubbers. They go on the rear trailing arm for a hydrolastic. My ones are crushed. So I bought a left and a right. These weren't cheap, but then it's different from the UK models is my understanding. I think this is what the Australian version looks like. And actually, interestingly, when I got the car, so the right-hand side one of these was crushed, but it had a piece of copper pipe, the exact right diameter, that's slotted in there. And that got crushed as well, but I don't know if the copper pipe was put in at factory or it's just the previous owners did that. My car, of course, it had two owners before me. It was I bought it off the second owner, who bought it off I think a lawyer from South Yarra event originally, and then yeah, the second owner had the car for most of its life until I picked it up. So yeah, I think I'll go ahead and fit these and get rid of the others. No, nothing in there. We also got this hose. This is that goes above your feet on the driver's side to connect to the heater box. Yeah, it was just easier buying that from there. For the hose that goes from the duct scoop in the bonnet, in the engine bay to the elbow, I just got I think it was 100 mil fan duct, corrugated ducting from Bunnings, and it looks like it's just the right size. So, but I just needed this diameter, which isn't, I think this is maybe 80, I'm not too sure, but yeah, this is what goes inside the cabin. All right, let me just double check. So yeah, there's the exhaust fitting kit, mini kit. We got all the rest of the bits. So I got new split pins for the brakes, for the discs. I got also the rubber O-ring that goes on the top arm on the driver's side, so I've got to fit that. The other one was split. We got also the front bush kit for the tie rods, and as well, this looks corroded, yeah, a little bit. But this bolt here, if you recognise that, it's the bolt that goes. It's a security bolt that goes on the steering column. So you cinch it down with the nut, and you keep turning until the head of this snaps off, and then it's a security bolt, as in you can't really retrieve it again. You've got to grind a slot into it to try to take it off. So yeah, I was keen to put that on the car, and that wraps it up. So we'll go ahead and fit a number of these things, and it'll just be a short video. Alright, this hole doesn't line up with the door pocket, so I'll leave that out for the moment. There is a hole there, but they're just not lining up. I'll have to work that out a bit later. So you can see here was the old one here. It's just about split all the way through. So there's a new one. It was a good move buying these, and they don't seem to be too readily available. So we just had to drop this swing arm, take it off the damper. I'll do the other side. I'll have to use the jack to get this up high enough to reattach this. So I'll go ahead and drop the other side. And we have it dropped. See, that one's just about to split through. It's perished. There we have it.